Hey guys, so today I will be doing something a little bit different and taking the political compass test as if I were both Joe Biden and Donald Trump, just filling in these questions as, considering how they would probably answer them. And also, this is not the most accurate test. I'm just going to say that right now. There's only two scales, left and right economically, and then authoritarian or libertarian on the social scale. But this is the most popular test. I'm sure that many of you guys watching have taken this test. If you have not, just search a political compass test and this will pop up at the very top. It's not the most accurate, but it's pretty simple and, it's pretty quick to complete. Before we get into that, make sure you join my Discord server if you have not, the link to which is at the very top of the description below. So taking a look at this test, essentially you're just answering some questions and really they're not that well phrased. I mean, if economic globalism is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interest of transnational corporations. For Joe Biden, I'm going to take this as if I were Joe Biden first and then Donald Trump. So for Joe Biden, I think he would agree to that, but not strongly agree. So really what this does is it's trying to get a response out of you, either, left or right. So really, if you put disagree, you'd probably be on the right more. And if you put agree, you'd probably be on the left more. So that is keeping with Joe Biden. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. I do think that Joe Biden would disagree to that. No one chooses its country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I think that Joe Biden would actually disagree with that as well. I don't think that he would agree with that. So, and this is all, just for the United States, when I'm taking this test. So no one chooses a country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of the U.S. So I'm just going to phrase it like that. Our race has many superior qualities. I think that definitely Joe Biden would strongly disagree with that. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think that Biden would also strongly disagree with that as well. And, just comment down below whether or not you agree with these answers that I'm putting in for this test. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I think that Joe Biden would probably disagree with that. Sometimes he might agree, but I think that most of the time he would definitely disagree with that statement. So really, it's just trying to get, a signal as to whether you're on the left or on the right for these questions, which is why they're phrased really weirdly. There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I mean, what kind of question is that? I'm gonna put disagree for Joe Biden. People are ultimately divided by class, more by class than nationality. I think that Joe Biden will probably agree with that. I think he would agree with that a little bit more. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I think that Joe Biden would disagree with that. I think that he would be more concentrated on controlling the unemployment and keeping it low than controlling inflation. Because corporations cannot be trusted voluntarily, they require voluntarily to protect the environment. They require regulation. I think that he would strongly agree with that. He does not support the Green New Deal, but he does support one that is less expensive. That the more moderate Democrats are supporting, from each according to his own ability to each according to his need, is fundamentally a good idea. I think that Joe Biden would, really, I would put it in the middle, but I would say disagree for that statement. The freer the market, the freer the people. I think that probably Joe Biden would be, in the middle. He is more of a moderate, but he is a Democrat, so I would put disagree on that. He does support a few more regulations on corporations. Bottled water is now a branded consumer product. I mean, really, that's a pretty dumb question. Honestly, like, you can just drink tap water if you wanted to, so I think that Joe Biden would definitely disagree with that, just as a question itself, but really it just wants a sort of response from you to put you onto the scale. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I mean, I don't think Joe Biden would agree with that. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people. Yeah, I think that Joe Biden would agree with that a little bit. Donald Trump less so when you take the test for him. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I do think that Joe Biden would believe in that. The only social responsibility is to deliver profit to his shareholders. I think Joe Biden would disagree with that a little bit. I think that he would think that companies should have a little bit of responsibility on what they're doing. The rich are too highly taxed. Joe Biden is going to disagree with that, as basically every Democrat is going to tell you. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. I think he would agree with that. He does want everybody to have medical care. His Medicare plan is a I really can't remember what it's called, but it's basically Medicare for all. Essentially, there is going to be a government-run Medicare system, but it's an opt-in system. So if you want it, you will get it. If you want your private healthcare, you're perfectly okay with keeping your private healthcare. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. I think that Joe Biden would definitely strongly agree with that. A genuine free market requires restrictions. I think that Joe Biden would agree to that as well. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. I think Joe Biden would strongly disagree with that, as most Democrats will tell you. Conservatives, on the other hand, would definitely strongly agree with that. All authority should be questioned. I think that Joe Biden would agree with that as well. Donald Trump should, as well, for this question. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I think Joe Biden would strongly disagree with that question right there. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive. Really, I'm pretty divided on what Joe Biden would say on that issue, but I think that he would agree with that a little bit more. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I think Joe Biden would disagree with that. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. This is really just a racism question, I guess. So really, if they're gonna put you more on the right if you strongly agree, and more on the left if you strongly disagree. Joe Biden definitely, I believe that he would strongly disagree to that statement. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I think Joe Biden would disagree with that a little bit more. It's natural for children to keep the secrets from their parents. I think he would agree with that. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Definitely, he would agree. He has said some stuff that isn't the most pro marijuana, in the past, so I'm not going to put strongly agree, but right now his stance is that he agrees. Whether or not he really does agree with that, I'm not too sure, but he has said that he does not want to criminalize the possession of marijuana for personal use. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. I think you would agree with that. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. I'm not really too sure on that, but I think that Joe Biden would disagree. That's just typically what I think he would say. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. I think he would disagree with that statement. There are no savage and civilized people, only different cultures. I think Joe Biden would definitely strongly agree with that. Again, this is a little bit more of that racism question, left at the bottom and then right there. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I mean, really, this is phrased really weirdly so that you really only get a yes or no answer. But I think that Joe Biden for this question would agree with that, just because of how, it's either yes or no. And I think that, those who have trouble finding the opportunity, Joe Biden, I think would support supporting them. But, then again, if they don't even try, then I think that he would agree with this statement. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I mean, really, this question, I don't see how this has to do with anything, but I'll put disagree for Joe Biden. First generation immigrants can never fully be integrated. I think he would strongly disagree with that. What's good for most corporations? Strongly disagree on that question. Is always good, ultimately good for all of us. No broadcasting institution should receive public funding. I think Joe Biden would disagree with that statement. And we're at 4 out of 6. I will have to do the Trump test a lot quicker, but our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. I think that Joe Biden would strongly disagree with that statement. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. I think that Joe Biden would disagree with that statement right there. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. I think that he would disagree with that. I don't think that surveillance, or I don't think he would think that surveillance should be, just everywhere. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Joe Biden would strongly disagree with that. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed. He would strongly disagree with that as well. Abstract art that doesn't represent, I don't really see how this has to do with anything, honestly, but it's just more liberals would say yes, and then more conservatives would say no. But Joe Biden, abstract art doesn't represent anything, shouldn't be considered art. Yeah, he's going to disagree with that. In a criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. I think Joe Biden would strongly disagree with that. It's a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals. I think he would agree with that, some people, but most people, I think he would disagree. So I'll put disagree for Joe Biden just because that's basically what this test wants. The business person, manufacturer, more important than the writer and the artist. I'll just put disagree. These questions, really, they're not that great. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Joe Biden would strongly disagree with that. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I think he would agree with that. And then making peace with the establishment is an important part of maturity. Disagree with that, of course. So next page, this is the final page. Or actually, there's two more. All right, I'm going to do the Trump test really quickly then. Astrology accurately explains many things. I have no idea. Honestly, for astrology, I guess I would disagree for Joe Biden. You cannot be moral without being religious. I would say that this is, you cannot be moral without being religious. I think that the Joe Biden would strongly disagree with that. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the generally disadvantaged. Yeah, I think that Joe Biden would agree with that. Some people naturally unlucky. Yeah, he would agree with that. It's important for my child's school to instill religious values. I think Joe Biden would disagree with that, although he is a Catholic. Okay, sex question. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. I think Joe Biden would disagree with that. A same-sex couple should not be excluded. Yeah, he would definitely strongly agree with that. Pornography should be legal for the adult population. He would agree with that. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. I think that he would strongly agree with that. No one can feel naturally homosexual. He would strongly disagree with that. And then these days, openness about sex has gone too far. I don't think he would agree with that too much. So this is the test for Joe Biden. I want to make it very clear. These are not how I feel. This is how I think Joe Biden would take the test. This has nothing to do with my personal political beliefs. So let's take a look at our results. We already saw this a little bit earlier. This is where they put other famous leaders. Stalin on the top left, Hitler, Thatcher, Friedman, and then Gandhi. Thatcher is pretty close to Hitler. Surprising, but our political compass for Joe Biden, we have on the economic left minus 2.5. So 2.5 units to the left, and then 5.23 units libertarian. So I think that does make a little bit of sense. He is on the left, and he's a little bit more of a moderate. Bernie Sanders, someone like him, you'll probably have him a little bit more over here. So this is just a test that, this is more hypothetical. If Joe Biden were to take this test, this is what the results I think would show for him. Alright, so now we will be taking the test for President Trump. I've already done the first page of it. Some questions are a little bit different. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I put strongly agree for that for President Trump. And now I will continue working on this, and I will see you guys once I finish. Alright, and now I will continue to do this final page. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. I think that Trump would probably agree with that. A same-sex couple in a loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I think that Trump would personally disagree with that statement. Pornography, for this question, I would say that he would disagree with that question. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. I think that he would definitely strongly agree with that point right there. But actually, for this one, I'm actually going to put agree for Donald Trump. Just yeah, you can think about why that is. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I'm really not too sure about how Donald Trump feels about this. I would put agree for the president. And then these days, openness about sex has gone too far. Definitely, I think that Donald Trump would agree with that statement very strongly. So this is the political compass test, as if Donald Trump were to be taking it. And let's take a look at our results for Donald Trump. Yep, we have economic right 5.75, social or social libertarian or authoritarian. It would be authoritarian 2.46. So Joe Biden was right around that point where my cursor was, while Donald Trump is all the way over there. So there's quite a bit of a difference between these two politicians, and in our test it definitely does show it. Donald Trump is much more to the right, around 7-8 points more to the right than Joe Biden, and socially he is around 7-8 points more authoritarian than Joe Biden as well. So thank you for watching this video. Basically, we took the political compass test as if we were both Joe Biden and Donald Trump. For Joe Biden, it was around right there, and then for Donald Trump, it is right there with that red dot is. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Enjoyed it. Please consider leaving a like down below. Comment your thoughts down below. If you would answer any questions differently than I did, subscribe to my channel if you have not. That would be very much appreciated. Check out my channel memberships if you're interested in gaining some more perks, and consider joining my Discord server if you have not. So I will see all of you guys in the next video.